And to you, good day.
I was almost going to whisper. Okay, that was so good. I just love this synchronicity so much.
So do we.
That was my question, actually.
How synchronous of you.
I know. And so I call them quinks. And
Quink.
yeah, it's like a non-coincidental coincidence. You know things are happening.
You are referring to an old-fashioned phrase in your language called a coinky-dink.
I guess so, but
Yes.
I shortened it, yeah.
All right.
Because I love keeping track of them.
Oh, all right.
And I separated them. Events were quinks, and then when you found an object that was quinky, then it was a mool. But anyway, the question I had is, what are they? Like,
What are what?
Well, I love how what are quinks? When
Are they not synchronicities?
Yes.
Well,
but
we already explained what a synchronicity is.
Right, and you explained it so well, but
not well enough, obviously.
Well, no, I just wanted more. Like, I know we're creating our reality or attracting our reality,
Yes.
we have momentum, or I don't know how that's happening. Maybe that's none of my business, or just let it go. But
that might sometimes be the wisest course. Because you don't need to get too caught up in how the mechanism works to simply know the mechanism works. When you walk into one of your rooms and you turn on the light switch, do you stop and wonder how the light bulb is actually working? Or do you just go, light, thank you, now I can get on about my business? Do you understand?
Yes.
So it's all right to know how it works, but you don't always need to know in order to just flow with what you're doing. So the idea is to recognize everything is one thing. You understand this, yes?
Yes.
Different expressions of the same one thing occurring in exactly the same place, all at once in the same moment. What you view as different places, what you view from your perspective as different moments, are simply the same place and the same moment from different points of view. So the idea is that since everything is one thing, synchronicity is an experience of the collapsing of the space-time continuum experience down to at least something closer to the single moment, so that you understand that everything is happening here and now all at once, and suddenly exactly what you need that has always been right here, right now, appears before you exactly when you need it, exactly where you needed it. That's how it translates into the space-time matrix. But that's a representation, a symbol of the fact that information and that experience has always been right here, right now, and now you've just shifted your frequency into a vibrational state that is appropriate for suddenly being able to perceive that information exactly when you needed it. Does that help?
Yes, it does. I like to go on walks, and I think of them as treasure hunts, and sometimes things would happen, and I would be looking like my gang, my invisible gang, is playing with me.
Yes.
And it's so fun.
It is.
So the part that you said about with no insistence on the outcome.
Yes, because you don't really know what it's going to really look like.
Right.
And if you have a symbol of it, that's fine. But you have to understand that the symbol's job is just to get you into the state of excitement about having something like that happen. But sometimes the symbol can actually be limiting and prevent you from experiencing something even better than you were capable of imagining. Right. So that's why you don't need to insist on the particular outcome, because that particular outcome may not be the best outcome for you.
Right. And I think I like it so much that I try to recreate it. And once I try, I'm out of it.
Yes.
And
that's why we don't try. We just do.
Exactly. So when you were talking about Saibo,
yes.
I want to become a grandmaster of the slot machine. And
all
so
right.
I was thinking of that because, you know, like how it lines up. And that was another thing. How does law of attraction and synchronicity go together? Because I know I can focus on something like writing.
All right. One moment.
Okay.
In a sense, they are two different sides of the same coin, since you're using the slot machine reference. The idea of the law of attraction is, yes, in a sense, your people are correct when they say, well, you have to be of a certain state to attract something of that state. Yes, fundamentally, but that explanation is skipping over something of fundamental importance. And the fundamental important thing is this.
Oh boy.
You already have a core frequency that is representative of your pure state. That pure core frequency is already already attracting everything that is representative and reflective and symbolic of that pure core state. If it's not manifesting right now, then either it's not the right timing according to your own theme of exploration, but still for the same mechanical reason, it's being kept at bay. It's not that you're not attracting it, it's that you're keeping it away. So you have to understand, you don't have to learn to do anything to attract what is true for you. You have to learn why you might be keeping what is true for you away with your belief systems. But that's a fundamentally different state of being than thinking you have to learn to get into a vibrational state to attract something. You're already doing it. You don't have to learn it. It's automatic. It's immediate. It's effortless. And therefore, the idea of synchronicity is that the more you allow yourself to divest yourself of the negative belief systems that are out of alignment with who you truly are and let them go, then the more you can experience all the things that are true for you in that now, and they will begin to manifest through the experience of synchronicity happening at exactly the right place, the right time, that is representative of the timing of the changes to when those experiences are appropriate for the person you have now become. Does that make sense?
Yes. And the part about no insistence on the outcome and not trying and the ease of it, all those things. So I get so excited sitting at that slot machine, especially when they start to line up. And then I get so, and I want more.
One moment.
Okay.
Here's a reminder about the idea of acting on your excitement and why it's important to let go of any insistence. The idea, when we talk about acting on your highest excitement, understand, you act on your highest excitement for its own sake. Not because of what it will get you, not because of where it will take you, not because of anything after that moment. You act on it because that's what you're excited to act on for its own experience. Because you don't know why a thing may excite you. A thing that excites you may not excite you because that thing has to come to fruition. Something may excite you as a lure to get you to move to where you need to be so that the thing you really need to do can more easily be done. That's why you need to drop all your insistence on what needs to happen, because you never really know why a particular thing is actually exciting. That's the communication from your higher mind. Excitement is your physical body's translation of the communication from your higher mind saying, do this now, do this first. This will take you where you need to go. Maybe not where you want to go, but it will take you where you need to go. Do you understand the difference? Therefore, excitement is acted on for its own sake, not for anything else and no other reason. And that will just automatically flow you to the next place. And if that needs to come to fruition, then it will in some way, shape, or form, but you have no idea how you're actually going to get there.
So it's not for the money coming out of the machine.
It may not be. It may not be. It might be, but it may not be. It might only be for the purpose of improving your synchronicity. It might be for the purpose of saying something that the person sitting next to you needs to hear from you. You need to broaden your imagination about why things excite you. It's an orchestration. It's not always just about you. You understand?
That's good. That's really good.
All right.
Because sometimes I sit there and I go, okay, so I don't care. I just don't want to care. But then I do. It's really funny. Because,
it's hysterical. Watching all of you, as we have often said, is like watching a 7-foot person attempting to stuff themselves into a 1-foot square box.
Oh my God.
You are all quite hysterical.
That's so funny.
And you have given us years of entertainment. And so we thank you. Nevertheless, when you really relax any wanting about what you think needs to happen next, you will actually get what you need, and you will see why the thing excited you. You will understand it after the fact, and maybe not even then. And if it doesn't come then, you don't need to know.
Okay.
Just follow the thread of excitement for its own sake. It is leading you along the unerring path of least resistance. Just see what happens. Just see what happens. Because again, if you start to understand that many of the things that you say you want to have happen by acting on your excitement, if you understand that those things are actually very often limitations on what could happen, you'll start to drop those expectations and insistences. So let's say, to use your example, yes?
Yes?
You're sitting at your slot machine, you're very excited to be there, but you have this insistence that your excitement will not be fulfilled unless money comes out. But insisting on that may have actually pinned you to that machine longer than you needed to be, because you wouldn't necessarily have gotten up by following your true excitement and your instincts and gone to another casino where suddenly another machine that you sit at gives you the jackpot. But it may not come from that machine, or it may come some other way entirely, or somebody may give you something else entirely that will fulfill and reflect that excitement. So when you have no insistence on how it has to manifest, then you'll follow that thread. When it actually occurs, you won't fixate yourself on something that may actually prevent you from experiencing something far grander than you could imagine by sitting at that one spot. Does this help?
It helps a lot. It helps a lot. Yeah, that's what I want to be able to do. To
then
let
by
that
all
go.
means
I'm
do so.
doing it. Yeah, I'm doing it. Okay, I have another question.
Do you?
When you
Go ahead, pull the handle. We'll see what happens.
There's a show where when they pull the handle, the chair goes back and they dump the person backwards. So when you said that, that was so funny. Okay. When you mentioned Interstellar Alliance,
yes.
I got in my imagination, I was picturing a council.
Yes.
And then I was thinking, is it like that bar in Star Wars? Are there like dolphin people that are in tanks of water?
Well, in a sense, yes. There are many different cultures and many different civilizations, many of which are unlike you. And it is, let's just say, sort of like that, but certainly not absolutely like that.
But it's that diverse.
Oh, absolutely. All of the beings that actually have what you would consider to be, well, not all of them, but most of the ones that you are familiar with at all in your stories that have a humanoid appearance, have that appearance because you're genetically related. Most species out here in the galaxy look nothing like you at all.
Really?
But you are dealing with the ones that are similar enough so that you won't, how do you say it, get freaked out?
Right. But
then they will gradually acclimate you to the fact that there are races that you couldn't even comprehend out here.
Yeah. And are in all of our nature, like the insects and creatures,
yes,
are those like representations here of other whole species?
Sometimes similarness can be experienced, although it may not be absolutely identical. But you are seeing templates for many of the things that do exist out here, although they won't be necessarily identical to what you see on your planet, because that's your version of the template.
Okay.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does. And like in...
Your chair's going backwards now.
Really? Oh my God. Okay.
Please take your seat.
Okay, bye. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hello, Bashar.
And you good day.
Thank you. Just to tag on really quick off of her last question on highest joy and excitement, I want to talk a little bit about like self-hatred and self-love, because I've heard from another channeler that if you're in like a state of self-hatred, that your highest joy and excitement can be something that's destructive and detrimental to you.
No. Watch your contradictory definitions. Self-hatred is not an expression of excitement, but someone can create the idea that it is. But that is not an accurate representation of the vibration of excitement. Remember that the idea of self-hatred, by definition mechanically, is a negative energy. You follow me? Mm-hmm. It's segregative, separative, disconnective. in its experience.
Okay.
The idea of excitement is a positive mechanical energy, which means it's connective, integrative, and expansive. Therefore, saying, well, it is my highest excitement to hate myself is a complete contradiction of energy and terms.
Well,
But you can create the experience as if it seems to be your higher excitement, but the only reason that would be done is because you are glossing it over so that you won't have to look at why you hate yourself. Therefore, it's simply based on fear that you're saying it's your excitement, so you don't have to look deeper and find out why you would hate yourself. Do you understand?
yeah. So my question comes to, this is a kind of a personal question, but
Yes, it is.
I feel very stuck in my life right now.
Oh, all right. How exciting. That means you're at a crossroads and can go anywhere. That's another way to look at it. You understand? Because by saying I feel stuck, the only reason you feel stuck is because you have definitions that create that sensation. There is no such thing as an inherently difficult situation. No such thing. Only your beliefs and definitions allow you to experience it that way.
Okay.
So the paradox and the power in the paradox is an understanding that if you feel stuck, the only reason you can actually have an experience of feeling stuck is that you're actually not stuck. Because you have to be connected, you have to be flowing, you have to be moving and creating in order to create an experience of feeling that you're not. That's the paradox. You can never be disconnected. You have to be connected in order to create an experience of being disconnected. That's the paradox.
Okay.
You're always in control, and if you feel out of control, it's because you're controlling that. That's the paradox. You cannot be out of control. You cannot be disconnected. You can't actually be stuck, not literally, but you can create experiences as if you are. But if you understand how existence is structured, as soon as you understand that you can't actually be stuck, then you can reveal to yourself that it's just an experience you're creating with the energy of your being that is not stuck.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, and yes, it does. But the experience that I'm in right now,
Yes.
and what I'm trying to recreate or get out of is I've had problems with drug addiction.
Oh, all right.
For years now.
How exciting for you.
Yeah. Well.
And what have you learned? What have you learned? Is this something you prefer?
No.
Oh, all
it's
right.
Not.
All right.
It ruins my life. I
All right.
get
But-
sober and build my life
But you
back
can
up.
learn something from this, yes?
Yeah.
And in learning something from this, will it improve your life?
Well, yeah, totally. If
Well,
I can
then
get
you
through
are
it.
learning from it, and that means you are turning the negative into a positive. Therefore, it's not a waste. That's the first idea. It's not a waste. You're learning something from it. You are strong enough to have chosen to go through that and come out of it. That's the first thing we see. Yes?
Yeah.
An experience of strength. I can go into the depths of darkness, the depths of the experience of disconnection, the depths of the experience of being out of control, that this completely controls my life, and yet I can still have excitement that says, I desire, I prefer something else, because I know I am powerful enough to transform this. That's the first thing we hear. Is that the first thing you hear?
Yes.
All right.
Now,
Yes.
when getting off, because I've gotten into a situation again where I've gotten my physical body dependent on substances that I have
alright.
to withdraw from, that's very painful.
Exciting, yes. You
I
understand.
don't know how to face, like...
One moment.
Okay.
One moment. You understand that the idea of addiction is locking on to something that's a permission slip that allows you to feel either more powerful than you believe you are, or allows you not to feel the fear of not feeling powerful. So it's either dampening the fear so you don't feel it, or it's giving you a false sense of self-empowerment. That's why addictions happen. because you have a deep-seated belief that you are not powerful, not connected, not loved. Do you understand?
Yeah.
That's where that starts.
Yes.
And in not necessarily having the tools to know how to transform that because of being brought up in the society that you are brought up and not being taught those tools, you still know, you still have the urge to fill what feels like emptiness. Because you can sense that there is a sense of emptiness there. The idea that you don't believe you are self-empowered or connected to Source is translated in your reality as a sense of emptiness. And you attempt to fill it. But the only things you've been taught you can fill it with are not the actual things that fill it. These are just ideas and symbols that you've been taught can fill it, but as I just described, they give you a false sense of security.
Right.
Because there's only glossing over the deep-seated issue, which is the belief in your lack of worth.
Right.
But you are worthy. You are worthy. Trust me, if you were not worthy, you would not exist, because creation doesn't make mistakes. Yeah. Not one. And if you exist, you belong.
Yeah.
Without you, all that is would not be all that is. You are necessary in order for it to experience itself through your perspective, and that allows it to be all that it is. So the fact that you exist, just that, is proof of your worth. So when you have been taught that you're not worthy, that you're not deserving, that you're not loved, and you keep reinforcing that, you keep buying into it, what you're doing in essence, if you can picture this, is you're arguing with creation. Saying, I don't exist. Not really. You will never win that argument. Ever. Because you cannot cease to exist. Existence is the fundamental state. You just are. Now, you may change your form in any number of infinite ways, but your perspective will always be your perspective, and anything you change into will always seem to be happening to you. Because the perspective is what you are of all that is. Your unique point of view, your unique experience, your unique understanding of yourself. So fundamentally, just by your existence, you are worthy. So I would simply strongly recommend that you stop arguing with creation, because you will never win that.
Okay.
So, step one, you have a fundamental worth, a fundamental value, just by the fact that you exist. You can begin there and build up from there. You understand?
Yes.
Then you can start looking at what the beliefs are. Once you have that foundation, once you know that you cannot cease to exist, you are now creating what we call the indestructible core of your being. It's already there, but you're becoming aware of it. By starting there and knowing that your existence proves your worth, you are now becoming aware of the fact that you are literally, as a point of view, as a unique perspective, indestructible. That which exists cannot become non-existent. Why? Because by definition, non-existence doesn't exist. Think about it. Non-existence doesn't exist. Existence exists. Non-existence doesn't exist. So that which exists can never become that which doesn't exist. We sometimes put it in a kind of fun, poetic way by saying, well, that which exists can't become non-existent because all the things that will never exist already fill non-existence up, and there's no more room in non-existence for the things that do exist. It's full of all the things that don't exist. Does that make more sense to you?
Yes.
All right. So, once you establish your indestructible core, you will always be. You will always be. Now you know that it's okay to start digging down and finding out what those fear-based beliefs are, because you know that no matter how deeply you dig, no matter how frightening it may be to explore and discover what those beliefs are, you will never, ever, ever be annihilated by doing so. You can never stop existing. Ever. So dig away, find out what they are, and remember, they are just beliefs. They are not facts. It is not a fact that you are unworthy. It's just something you've been taught to believe is true. It's not a fact. So if creation is willing to support you utterly in your belief that you're not worthy, why would it care if you start believing that you are? It will still support you all the same. It doesn't care what you choose to believe because that's been left up to you. Totally up to you. It's in your hands to decide what is true for you. So if you suddenly say, you know, I'm really tired of believing that I'm not worthy. I'm really tired of creating this sense of stuckness and this idea of being out of control. I'm really tired of using permission slips as a crutch because I don't believe I'm self-empowered enough to attract what I need when I need it. This is all just negative beliefs. They're just opinions. They're not empirical facts of nature. They're just ideas that you've bought into. That's all they are, because that's all physical reality is. Physical reality isn't real. It's just a reflective mirror of what you believe to be true. That's all.
So, and I understand that, and I've studied a lot about beliefs, and basically that things are neutral, and our beliefs are what give them.
Yes.
So, for me,
yes,
could you give me some instructions on maybe like I'm basically asking like a way like to get, I'm ready to get off and take the jumping point and get off of everything that I'm on and go through the withdrawal, which is going to be very painful.
Does it have to be?
That's what I'm wondering.
Does it have to be?
Well,
no, it doesn't. So why don't you assume there is another way to experience that process and let the synchronicity in your life attract to you the information you need to take you through that process in the most effortless possible way? Why assume it has to be painful? Just because you've gone through it before doesn't mean that the new you has to experience that, does it?
No.
Then there you go. Do you understand that you are a new person every moment?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Well, if you understand that you really are a new person every single moment, then don't you understand the implications of what that means?
Yes, I do.
Are you sure? Explain it to us.
Okay, so what
right
that
now
means is that like we're constantly like shifting like realities and every.
And what does that imply?
And that implies that like we're constantly changing.
And what does that imply?
That I can create any experience that I want.
And what does that imply? If you are a new person, what does that imply?
That I'm not, that I can be who I want to be. Like,
if you are a new person in a new reality, doesn't that imply that you, the new you, has a different history than the other person that was there a moment ago?
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
If you can, I'm not saying this is the way you will do it, but if you understand this, truly understand it, you will understand that if you really are a new person, you actually have a different history. That doesn't mean that you have stopped using the addictive substances. It means you never did.
Right.
And that's why there's no longer any urge, and that's why there's no longer any withdrawal, because you've never been addicted as the new person.
And you talk about it as like the 13th step.
That's the 13th step of transformation. Now, I understand that it may be a little challenging for many of you to really wrap your mind around this and use it. So I'm not saying that it has to be done this way. But what can be done is, you know, you can attract to yourself through synchronicity the idea of going through whatever process you believe you need to go through in the most effortless and joyful way you can. There is always an option for that. So don't assume, is all we're saying. Never assume or insist that it has to be one way just because you think you experienced it that way before. Before has nothing to do with now. Nothing. Unless you make the continuity link. And this is where breaking continuity comes in.
Okay.
Before is its own reality, and it's another person. It's literally another person. If you really aren't that person, and it's not even about, I'm not that person anymore. No, you never have been. Ever. You're a different person. Do you understand?
Yes.
So this is a description of what it would be like if you truly make this true for yourself. If you don't right away and you go through another process, that's fine. All we're saying is the process you go through doesn't have to be painful. You know that somewhere in your reality, somewhere in your makeup, here and now, is what you need to have whatever process will work for you in the most effortless and joyful way. So why not just assume that you can attract that instead?
Okay. Could you provide me with the
No,
process?
you're going to do it yourself. Because you are a self-empowered person, aren't you?
Yes.
Then you're going to do it.
Okay.
And I have already helped you to the degree I am allowed. Okay. Now your higher mind is saying, that's enough. I'll take it from here. Okay. Yes?
Yes.
All right, so follow your excitement, your true excitement. Don't fool yourself into labeling things that are not your excitement as excitement. And conversely, don't label things that really are your excitement as things to be afraid of.
Okay.
You understand? Mm-hmm. You have to be honest within yourself about the fact that you have these beliefs and really investigate them, but at the same time know that they're just smoke and mirrors. And in fact, one of the great tricks of negative beliefs, because they don't want you to change them, that's how they're designed. They want you to perpetuate them. They want you to hold on to them. One of the greatest tricks is to make you as afraid to change them as possible.
Right.
Therefore, the more fear you experience when you attempt to change them, the closer you are to changing them, because they're trying harder to get you not to by making you more afraid. So the more frightened you are, that tells you, I must be close to letting this go. So, negative belief, I have found you out. I have found your trick. You are just making me feel like if I let you go, things will collapse around me. But now I know that's just smoke and mirrors.
Okay.
Game over. You understand?
Yeah.
So relax into yourself. Let these things be absorbed within you. And please remember what we said before. You are never without assistance. All right?
All right.
You're never alone.